Testing, testing. Hello, hello. Welcome to Break On Through. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, the West Coast. It's 3:33, November 14th, and we are live. Something that I've been waiting to do for a long time. Wow. Talk about procrastination. Definitely breaking through my comfort zone in doing this. But truth be told, I've got lots to share, and so do you. The intent behind the format is actually to create somewhat of a kind of live, interactive podcast, radio station kind of vibe, where I want and encourage your participation through the live chat, and also, eventually bringing in guests and taking it mobile and interviewing people. So, we're going to talk a wide range of topics, everything from consciousness to world affairs. Definitely not going to take any positions, but just to share openly lots with sacred traditions, ancient knowledge, and, just things that I feel can help us break on through and really support the transformation of our human family. So, I welcome the participation. And eventually, I'm hoping to perhaps get a toll-free number that people can call into. I'm open for your suggestions and feedback. And right now, I'm just getting things going, just working out the wrinkles. So I welcome any suggestions. And little by little, we'll make this good. We'll make it great. And we'll get this set up as a pro studio. And just want to provide something different, another alternative, some solid, creative, quality content that helps people and inspires people. That's the intention here. So welcome. Just gonna throw on my other set of eyes here and check out the chat. Michelle Cole. Yes, the synchronic order, synchronicity. Synchronicity is always at play for sure. I actually just synced up with a few people here. So I left the West Coast after 25 years and made my way back to Ontario. And basically with the sole intention of continuing my vision by manifesting some property and continuing the vision ultimately that we co-created in Mexico for many years on the property we called Tulan. Just in case you haven't seen my videos, just to offer you a little bit of background on that. The intention is to acquire some land either through renting, leasing, or purchasing to set up a base. And it would essentially serve as a educational and ceremonial center, sharing and teaching everything from sustainability, permaculture, sustainable agriculture, food sovereignty, seed saving. We'd have traditional practices and ceremonial ways there through ceremony with elders and tradition keepers, wisdom keepers, faith keepers, elders of various nations that I've had the privilege and honor to work with and study with. And just, being a living example of what it feels and looks like to live in a balanced way. So, and that includes bringing schools for field trips, for example, bringing professionals who can certify people in a lot of these different trades and crafts. And we're just, I'm holding the vision and I believe it's going to happen. I just connected with a brother who has a studio here called Everlove. Anyhow, they're doing some special work here in town, and he felt the call to come home and create this community hub. And I got connected with a brother who has some land, and they have a similar vision, although more leaning towards the therapeutic intention of helping people through, the intent of helping through different types of psychedelic medicines, and facilitating those types of sessions and therapies. But also very open to the idea of growing food and, sort of integrating the ceremonial traditions around that. So meeting with them tomorrow. I met with a brother today who's an ex-cop who has been doing some men's circles in the area, which is awesome. We need the support out there for our brothers. And, truth be told, a lot of first responders, including police officers, military, etc., they need these support networks for, the trauma and the experiences that they've witnessed and experienced throughout their careers. And it's really sad for me to not only witness that a lot of them have the greatest intent when they go into those fields, but then, obviously how it turns out with the political and corporate agendas, and then later to witness them being sort of tossed out to the curb like the trash. It's just absolutely deplorable. So, these are human beings, they're brothers and sisters who need that support. And so that's this gentleman's focus. And I'll share a lot of this once these things come to fruition, but I definitely feel that kind of work should be offered and presented more and more in those areas, as far as first responders in the military and so forth go, as a sort of support network for them. Anyhow, yeah, forgive me, I am a little bit nervous. I'm trying to go with the flow here. And, I've got a few things that I'll touch on or what have you, but go ahead and chime in if you feel that you resonate with anything or that you want to present an alternative perspective or challenge to anything that I'm chatting about, offer some input. I welcome that. I really encourage this to be an interactive experience. My intention is also to take breaks and play music, play mixes, various genres, not just one kind. Eventually maybe taking it to a level where I'm promoting music for fellow producers and record labels. As many of you know, I've been in the music industry, primarily in the electronic music industry, but I have been involved in, I guess, in production support for a lot of concerts as well. And, I grew up through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and obviously the 2000s. So got a huge influence of a wide range of different genres. And I love music. It's a passion of mine. And it's something that I want to include. But my one deterrent is copyright infringements and having the channel either get canceled or shut down or demonetized and that sort of thing as well. So I am feeling the call to do this. And in any case, we'll give it a go and we'll do our best and see how it evolves. I'm not sure if this is the right medium for it, but it feels like it is, especially when I've already started to establish my channel through my videos. But yeah, there we have it. Yeah, feel free to chime in on the chat, offer any input and suggestions, and welcome. So what a ride it's been. Oh my. I think the last video I put in or uploaded was in, February of last year. Intense times we're living in. And many of us knew that this was coming. And so here we are. And, presently we're being blasted on so many different levels. The astrology is fully aligned. I'm not a huge astrology person, but I certainly believe in it. And I believe that the galactic alignments and star systems and ultimately the universe orchestrates our experience to a large degree. So our astrology, for one thing, Pluto is coming out of Capricorn, from what I understand, and now moving into Aquarius. So I've been living with that. I'm Capricorn, dealing with that for the last 16 years. So that's been fun. And it's good, you know, builds character, let's say that. And, you know, I would say that Pluto helps to illuminate the shadow and purify and refine, drive you in a good direction, show you what works and what doesn't work. And so, yeah, it's everybody needs it, and I'm grateful for the experience. I feel compassion for my daughter. She's an Aquarius, and it's moving into Aquarius for the next several years. So anybody that's Aquarian, prepare thyself. It's a fun ride, but if you embrace the journey, it's very liberating. So blessings to you. The sun, we're going through a huge solar cycle right now. This is stuff that I've referred to with the Mayan calendar, and a lot of the work that I've done with the Hopi and the elders and the prophecies, and messages. The sun and the solar cycles is what they were all talking about. Just to reiterate, a lot of these prophecies and messages, inscriptions, were recorded and left for us to remind us and prepare us for that experience that they witnessed in their time, that we were going to experience in this present moment through cycles. And so here we are. And these prophecies, teachings, and traditions and messages, whatever you want to call them, the prophecies, they're coming out and revealing themselves in this time in perfection, in the synchronic order. Everything's absolutely perfect. And so they're really meant to just prepare us, you know, knowledge is power, and to just give us that awareness so that we know what's going on, that we have an understanding and acceptance of it, and we understand how to navigate. It's like having a map through a maze. So, you know, these maps or these tools that have been laid out and left before us from our ancestors and tradition keepers are here to help us. And so those traditions and messages and tools and teachings are things that I like to share. And those are my instructions. And this is ultimately the best medium that I can find to do that. And sometimes I'll find ways to sort of weave that into the current events, like I am mentioning right now with the solar cycles. I'm sure many of you can resonate with the fact that things are very intense right now. So the last time we had a solar cycle, we're in solar maximum 25 right now. And the last one that was anything close to this was 23, I believe. And anything even remotely close to this was in 2001. So we remember what was going on in 2001. You know, that's when the technosphere broke. 9/11, lots of intensity. You know, the collective trauma that was experienced through that, and lots of things. There was a lot of crazy things that year in that time. The last time before that, it was, you know, more related to this, was in medieval times. So in a nutshell, you know, this is probably the most intense time of any solar cycles that have been recorded in human history. We're experiencing huge flares, M-class flares, lots of plasma, and that all affects us. The light, the electromagnetics, polarity. So it's illuminating a lot, you know, on a metaphoric level, but it's also really affecting us with the photon energy and the electromagnetics. You know, we're electromagnetic beings, right? So anyhow, and then obviously the earth as well. And so everything is affecting us in that regard in a very intense way. It affects the weather. You know, the sun affects everything. You know, we can talk about all these different things, including politics and, you know, religion and HAARP and weather and the economy and all these different things. Guess what? The heart, or the sun, is ultimately the heart of all of it. You know, it affects everything. Granddad is affecting everything. So just know that and pay attention to the sun cycles. It'll help to bring a lot of understanding and truth to what you're experiencing. And believe me when I tell you, if you haven't been aware of what's going on in the last couple of weeks, I would check it out, because it's highly influencing what's going on on every level. As well, we're coming into a super moon right now. So that's super intense. Purification, affecting the water, the emotions, realization, illuminating, revealing, manifestation, and the empowerment. There's so many things at play right now. And then, of course, the political climate. Wow, who would have known things flipped the way they did? But here we are. And I don't tend to get into politics, and my personal views are really nobody's business. And I don't believe in the system per se, but a lot of them were pretty gung-ho on maintaining control, and the tables have been flipped, and we shall see how things unfold. All I can say is I hope that they happen for the better of humanity and the well-being of this planet. But yeah, it's up to us essentially to make that personal change and that personal integration and that personal decision to change our ways, to adapt, to align, and to find balance. So what's been going on for you guys? I'm going to check out the chat here quick. Oh, Michelle, you're just making some other comments here. Yes, lots of, so that's the funny thing too, is, I don't claim to know anything. I'm just sharing as I was instructed, as I was, honored and privileged to learn from my elders. And they've instructed me to share this with people that have ears to listen and those who are open to hearing it. So yeah, keep on scrolling if it doesn't resonate with you. The whole misinformation campaign and the way things are manipulated in the media is unbelievable. It's crazy. I'm not going to tell anybody that, anything is particularly the truth, because my truth isn't your truth, and your truth isn't necessarily my truth. And, I align myself with my truth by what feels solid in my heart. I do a lot of investigating and research before I determine if something is truth for me. I don't just blindly hop on the bandwagon and accept the status quo and jump on the current trend and agree with everybody because I'm afraid of being ridiculed or, segregated or canceled or whatever. I could care less. But if it's truthful to me and it's in my heart and I've made that decision to accept something, I know it's truth. It's my truth. But I think it's dangerous for people to control people through censorship, and especially controlling the media and using it as a manipulation tool. It's ridiculous. And we've seen that through and through politics, and it's amazing. As I was growing up, I haven't had cable for probably 30 years, believe it or not. Yeah, I watch stuff on the internet or whatever, and, things online and the odd sportscast or what have you. But yeah, I have no use for TV at all. And primarily because, throughout the late 80s and 90s, I started sort of picking up on the manipulation and just the falseness behind it. The news reporting just absolute bullshit and just crafting whatever narrative, which is the catchphrase of the week, about whatever's popular and whatever they're being fed by the government and these corporations that are sponsoring the channels. I saw that a long time ago. And then, I just couldn't help but comment when I saw the manipulation through some of these commercials. It was ridiculous. And I was just like, wow, people believe this crap. They buy these products and they feed into this nonsense. It's ridiculous. Yeah, and just, a lot of the stuff that's on TV just seems so plastic. So, yeah, I made the decision for myself not to watch cable, and I tell people that a lot too. Like, when there's a lot of arguing going on, and people are sort of drinking the Kool-Aid and buying into the propaganda and the division and the media manipulation, it's sad to me, because I tend to give human beings the benefit of the doubt, and I'm really hoping for the best of everyone's benefit that most people are intelligent and can see through that nonsense and see through the illusion, right? That's what Maya means. It's illusion. This whole projection, this creation of reality it's an illusion, right? We're all creating it. So, we have to ask ourselves, why? Why are we dreaming this up? What's the point of it? Why am I dreaming up all these characters, crazy or not, benevolent or kind? Why am I dreaming them up? What's the whole point of all this? And really reflect on it, because we are collectively creating this experience, as insane and crazy as it might be, and as beautiful and profound as it might be. So, yeah, I suggest to a lot of people, when it comes down to misinformation, propaganda, conspiracy, all these different things, and, legacy media and all that, kill your television. It's the first thing you should do. Get rid of that shit. You don't need it. So, yeah, and just be discerning. Do your homework. Be wise. Listen to your instinct. Listen to your heart. Don't follow trends and, popular, narratives and stories and what have you, just because you want to be on board with everybody else and feel accepted. That's just ego and insecurity. It's ridiculous. Be your own person and be a leader. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. These jokers have been, running us like a bunch of marionettes for like the last 30, 40 years. And it's amazing to me to see now that, independent media and some of these like YouTubers and podcasters now are just kicking ass. It's incredible. I love it. I love the fact that Rogan's podcast is the #1 media broadcast in the world. And it's not because I worship Rogan or I agree with everything he says or every guest that he has on, not at all. But he's a very down-to-earth person, and he's honest, and he's keeping it real, and he's truthful. He's a decent human being, and that's why it's working for him. And we need more of that. PBD during the elections, #1 broadcast, bigger than MSNBC, CNN, CBS, all those clowns. He crushed them. And now look what happened with Twitter now that Musk bought it with X. Unreal. Fantastic. We've got Trudeau here in Canada just shutting down any broadcasting that he or, his cronies don't deem to be acceptable Canadian media, which is insane. I can't even imagine what Canadians are missing out on and what's going on in the world by them just shadow banning everything. It's unreal. But, a lot of people, and sometimes myself included, but I'm doing my best to like be active. People just sit and bitch and complain, and they're keyboard warriors and don't really do anything about it. We have to deal with these things head on. I'm hoping for the best. I'm not saying that Poilievre is the best option. He's not necessarily any better. He's got different views, different perspectives, different approaches. I have thought that, Trudeau's been a bit of a gong show, but, they're all just different faces. They're like two heads of the same beast, And at the end of the day, they're all feeding the same animal, the same beast. So we have to become sovereign. And that's usually, in general, what I'm really trying to point towards when I share the return path and a lot of these messages is we need to take personal accountability, right? And that's reflected in many ways, with our careers, definitely with our families and taking care of ourselves, staying healthy, growing our own food, having our own source of water, having a good, healthy practice and lifestyle. You know, when you do these things, you're not dependent on the machine or the overlords to take care of you. That whole system, that whole structure is crumbling. It's been falling apart, and it has been pretty much since 2000, 2001. That was the signal. That was the breaking of the technosphere. So, yeah. Anyhow, love to hear your feedback on that. I'm not, like I said, into choosing sides. I'm not into feeding the duality. I'm not into like choosing parties. There is no parties. So if you're going to come at me with that, or, you know, you want to start saying like who's better or who's worse, I'm not interested. If you want to share, you know, your perspective on where you think we need to go, things that could be improved upon, things that we have power over that we can actually change and shift, fantastic. If there's policies or things that you agree or disagree on, that's fine, but I don't want to play politics here. It's not welcome. Same thing with religion, not interested. Okay. But aside from that, just be kind, be open and respectful, and I'm totally open to your interactions. Yeah, and it's funny to me that the whole red hat thing was referred to Trump, because that is directly correlated with the return of Pahana, and yeah, that's utterly ridiculous to me. And the fact that people are calling him a savior, there's definitely a bit of religious manipulation going on with this whole thing. Sure, I'll give him credit if he actually follows through and manages to shift things and take things in a more positive direction, and ultimately flip the tables on all these different, you know, organizations and institutions that he's talking about. We need to clean the slate. And I've said for a long time that the only way that things are going to get better is by flipping this thing upside down on its ass. Yeah, it's like birth, or going into, you know, a really intense sweat lodge, or Sundance. You know, people make these sacrifices, and there's a lot of pain. And I'm not saying that I have any idea what the pain is that a woman endures, although I was there for the birth of both of my children, and it was an incredible blessing. I have no idea how to relate to the pain itself. I can only imagine. People make these sacrifices, and they're painful, and they're uncomfortable, and they're necessary. And so, in order for the growth and continuation of our human family, we need to make these sacrifices, and people need to step out of their comfort zone, just like I'm doing right now. And yes, I do feel like that sounds privileged. The fact that I can sit here in my living room and, you know, share here and do this stream with you and take the time to do this. However, yeah, it's definitely important. So I would say, you know, the elections potentially, and the situation that's going down in the US should be taken with a grain of salt, and just continue to follow your own instinct and listen to your heart and pay attention. Be an observer. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Don't follow trends. So yeah, and crazy shit that's going on in the Middle East. Unreal. You know, there was a checklist that was rhymed off by the CIA and the military-industrial complex, and it's completely falling in line now that Iran is involved. I think it's absolutely and utterly ridiculous. I think if anything positive can come out of this thing with Trump, it's that he shuts this bullshit down, and that we have an end to these ridiculous corporate-driven proxy wars that are killing innocent people And it's just absolutely disgusting. I've been aware of it since I was a child. I have no respect for it whatsoever. It's incredibly sad. The human life is a miracle. It's a gift. The fact that anybody would take that for granted to such a degree to fund and fuel their own gains out of greed and control is just, it's pathetic. It's got to stop. And there's not a single world war that has not been for those reasons. So, yeah, my love and blessings go to all those who are engaged, as well as most especially those innocent lives that are being lost on all levels. I don't give a damn what religion you're part of. I don't care which country, whether it's Israel, Palestine, Iran, Syria, whatever, Ukraine, Russia. There are innocent people dying. It's ridiculous. They are human beings, brothers and sisters, being manipulated like puppets to fight a war on behalf of resources and agendas and corporations and control. It's bullshit. Everybody knows it. And they create these false flag events and all this propaganda and media manipulation to gain your consent and your support so they can justify the reasons why they do these crazy things. And now that independent media and these broadcasters, these people coming online and educating people and exposing this, we have the responsibility to be conscious and aware and not feed into this, to shut it down. And speaking of shutting it down, just before I started the caravans that I started in 2001 for the campaign for the New Time, I was on Hotmail, and I sent out an email to like a huge email list that I had throughout the collective, what we called the tribal dance community at the time, which is now sort of, I would say, spread all over the continent. Anyhow, it was just more or less a lot of the stuff that I'm saying now, minus the politics, just empowering people and saying it's time for us to rise, become empowered, be sovereign, independent, accountable, start changing our ways, because I saw a lot of this coming and I've seen it for many years. And Hotmail sent me a message and said, we're banning your account and we're shutting it down because we find the messages or the emails that you've sent questionable. That was my first sign that the machine, the whole like surveillance state was in full swing. And so it didn't just start in 2011, and the Patriot Act didn't start it. It started well before that. I would highly recommend that if you want to know anything about that stuff, that you pay close attention to Edward Snowden, because he knows what he's talking about. He's worked in it. He's lived it. He's very educated and super intelligent, and he knows what's up. I'll leave it at that. Okay. I'm not going to comment on things that I'm not thoroughly educated in, or pretend that I'm an expert in anything, but I like to provoke thought. I like to stimulate conversation and sort of create that balance of that duality, and just walk that middle path. It's all about balance. So yeah, insane. And yeah, my blessings and prayers go out to all those that are affected. I pray for my human family every day. I believe in you, and I really hope that we can rise up and rise above this, and that things are going to change rapidly in a positive direction. What do we got going on here? Michelle, you're chatty. How's it going? I apologize. I don't want to just be glued to this the whole time, but I appreciate what you're reflecting for sure. I can't control if anybody visits Hopi Nation. That's up to any individual, but I can tell you that they will certainly figure out pretty quickly if they're welcome or not. So we'll leave it at that. Danny, how's it going, brother? Helped you through a rough time. My videos helped you through a rough time after traumatic brain injury. Oh, to find purpose, rest, blessings. Thank you, brother. I couldn't ask for anything better. That's the intention. One of the messages or instructions from Grandfather Martin was that you can't let the people lose hope. And he's right, and that's something that is happening a lot, and it's really sad, especially with our youth. You know, I feel like it's potentially the reason why our population's going down too. Because I feel like parents and people of the newer generations are finding it incredibly difficult financially to make that decision, as well as just wondering whether or not they want to bring a child into this world in this state of affairs, you know. And yeah, I can relate. But at the same time, you know, we have the warrior within, the peaceful warrior, and we have to be strong, and we have to believe, and we can't lose faith. We can't lose hope. So, you know, we are in control of our destination and in our destiny. We are living and dreaming up our experiences. And that might sound floofy to some people, but it's true. You can go back into any ancient culture, whether it's Native American, Indigenous, or ancient Tibetan, or Indian, or any ancient practice. Okay, we are the dreamers of our reality. Your mind is projecting your thoughts and your reality at all times. There's so many times in my life where things have gone sideways, and I've had to reflect, like, why am I dreaming this up? What have I done? And it's not about a victim mentality. Nobody's a victim, but sometimes these harsh realities or experiences are here to, like, show us, you know, sometimes sadly to give us a little slap and tell us to wake up and smarten up and get in alignment and figure it out, you know. Like I said, transition and change and transformation is not comfortable. Sometimes it hurts, it's painful. And thank you for that, Danny. I'm honored, and I'm very grateful. Thank you to Creator, and the fact that you've heard that and felt that, and that it inspired you. That's all I can ask for. That's awesome. So yeah, pay attention to the weather. It's being affected by the sun. As I said, the solar cycles are super intense. Don't go to NOAA. I find them and, you know, NASA, their charts and their radars, whatever the systems that they're using, they're not always that accurate. It's almost like they're downplaying it, or something's going on. I have no idea, but there are times when I've checked their sites and just looked at it and compared it to, like, some of the other sites that I'm looking on, and it just doesn't align. There's a guy that I've recently found online when it comes to solar stuff and astrology. And I highly recommend a couple astrologers per se. Like I said, I'm not hugely into astrology, although I respect it. And, you know, I'm somewhat stuck in my ways. Once I research and put a lot of thought and intention into something, I tend to stick to the same teachers and masters. So an astrologer here that I highly respect in Canada, his name's Michael O'Connor, and he's my guy. You know, a guy that I sometimes tune into online is Kai Pacha. You know, the weekly Pele report that he does. And this new guy, his name's Stefan Burns. He's not an astrologer specifically. He's more into science, and he's just watching the cycles of the sun and revealing the things that are going on with the solar activity. It's pretty wild. Yeah, so there's that, you know, and then the super moon, and we know how things get wild in the full moon. So then we're in a super moon, And then on top of that, we're coming in with a King's Tide. We literally just went through the portal last night. If anyone's into like the dream spell and then galactic time frequency of the dream spell count. So we just went through Cosmic Dog yesterday and came into Magnetic Monkey today, right through the center of the Zolkin. It's pretty incredible. Like, we're really coming into a crux right now, this weekend, this week. And a lot of these solar flexes and, the flares and EMTs, they've basically started sometime around last Thursday, and they've gone until, or will be going to, I would say the end of November, early December. So things are going to get wild, and they are getting wild, and we're getting the intensities of these storms. Like, for example, we're still having hurricanes in November. The sun's going nuts. We just had a huge earthquake, or a big earthquake, certainly for the Puerto Rico area, that was affected by the sun. As soon as we got that massive solar mass ejection there, bam, that earthquake happened. Okay. And another hurricane formed in the Gulf as soon as that last coronal ejection happened. So pay attention to the sun. Granddad is rocking and rolling. And, the Maya and a lot of ancient traditions saw the sun as a portal, as a mirror. And so my understanding and my acceptance of these teachings is that, Granddad is reciprocal. It's interactive. The sun is interacting with us and the energy here on the earth. One of the ways that I can sort of verify that with my truth is that if you look along the different parallels of the earth, or the sun as it's revolving, a lot of the solar activity and the flares and the sunspots are lined up generally in the same positions where there's a lot of current chaos that's unfolding on the planet. And also, the sun tends to obviously influence a lot of the things that are happening here. So then we react to that out of fear, anxiety, stress, aggression, whatever it is. And then the sun feels that and absorbs that and then reflects it back to us. And it's just like this perpetual feedback loop, right? So, that conscious intention and being present and realizing that we are the dreamers and that we are all connected, we're all one. Everything in this universe, most especially the sun, we'll understand how these things are all being not really controlled, but affected. One of my most, first peyote experiences in the San Luis Desert in Las Animas. Excuse me, I just took a drink here. I was sitting on the ground, being present with the medicine and breathing, and just giving thanks, and just being really present with the earth, some insects, the rocks, plants beside me. And then I noticed, because I had the sun to my back, the sun is incredibly strong in the desert. So I had my back to the sun, and as I had my back to the sun, I noticed that the light would get dimmer and brighter. So it was breathing, contracting. Get really, really bright, and then get dimmer. And then really, really bright, and then dimmer. And I was like, wow. And then I actually felt this sort of sensation or phenomena that the earth was rising and contracting. So rising as the sun got brighter, and then contracting, going down as the sun got dimmer. And then I tuned into the plant life and the insects around me. Now, clearly I was under the influence of medicine, but science can prove that that's actually fact. So if you talk to any astrophysicist or any scientists, they'll tell you that the sun breathes. So, and we get the breath comes from our solar plexus, from our diaphragm, or at least it should if you're breathing correctly. So that solar breath, right? The Kuksan Sum that connects us to everything. It's the umbilical cord. So yeah, amazing, amazing. So pay attention to the grandfather. The sun plays a huge role in influencing everything. And as I said, including the economy. Heads up and congratulations to anybody that hopped on the crypto when they had the opportunity, or even if you're still considering it, if you just had recently. I'm not personally invested, but I did help a friend out, and hopefully things work out with that. But yeah, Ethereum's going up slowly, but damn, Bitcoin's up around like 125K right now. Pay attention, reap it when you can, hold if that's what you believe, but fantastic, that's just, it's another sign of liberation and freedom. It's pretty cool. I love it. So yeah, right on. Let's see that go to the moon. Let's see the abundance flow. Let's open the floodgates to everybody. Let's get the abundance going for everyone. Yeah, it's time to shut that down. The scarcity consciousness is what's holding back humanity. This fear paradigm that we live in, scarcity of feeling that there's never enough. We're just like a bunch of scurrying little squirrels, and it's not true. There's plenty to go around. There's more than enough. But there's certain people that are hoarding and controlling that abundance, and that's about to be released. And I love it. So awesome. I'm stoked. As long as that keeps going up, and as long as things continue to get exposed and the light keeps getting shone on these shadows, I am a happy camper. But yeah, one of the things that I was going to talk about last time, my last video, was Antarctica and Agartha. So isn't it interesting that that's the hottest topic right now? And that people are talking about no-fly zones and wanting to go down there, and wondering why there's secret military bases down there and why it's prohibited for people to go there, and so on and so forth. A lot of this stuff has been known for a long time. And you can have a good laugh if you like. A lot of people sort of shrug off or laugh about things, or dismiss things that they're uncomfortable feeling, because they don't make sense. It's a little over their head, or just a little bit out of reach. But this is a real thing, one of the first things that Grandfather Martin gave me, which I've shared in a previous video, is a map of Agartha. The Hopi believed that that's where they came from. That's what he said to me. This is where we came from, and this is where we're going back to. They came out of a reed of bamboo, out of the center of the earth, through Chaco Canyon, as miniature people. Okay? And they came up here, and they got instructions from Masawa to be the guardians of the earth and to be the stewards and keepers. So that's part of their ancient history and creation stories. And there's many, many traditions that back that, including the Aztecs and the Toltecs. They call it Xibalba. Okay? No, it's not hell. It's the underworld. All right? The Tibetan people, same thing. The ancient city of Shambhala is under the earth. It's underground. And many believe that it's sort of the center, pivotal city sacred ancient city of Agartha. So if you have other curiosities and want evidence, the Russians have been completely obsessed with finding the entry points through the North Pole. They've actually, I think it was in like 2004, 2006, around there, they're organizing excursions, like actually creating like journeys, trips, missions that were sanctioned, and people had to pay thousands of dollars to go on into the Arctic to find the opening, the entry point. Same thing, there's been rumor of that in various entry points around the world, including the Antarctic. If you want to look into Admiral Byrd and the flight of Admiral Byrd, when he came back, he told people about it, in the military. He divulged it to all of his senior officers and, his colleagues and everything. And people basically dismissed it. Some of them believed him. They ultimately, suggested that he was crazy and institutionalized them. But he created a diary. And his grandson is revealing that now. So research the flight of Admiral Byrd and just check it out, because there are some accounts and there's videos about it online. And, there is some information out that's, revealing of his sort of basic experience, in a nutshell. But if you really want to dive deep into it, get into his grandson's information, the stuff that he's revealing about Admiral Byrd's diary. Okay. He went into the center of the earth. He had a full experience with non-human beings. So, even the Nazis were obsessed with it. Hitler was absolutely obsessed with finding the center of the earth and finding Agartha, finding Shambhala. He was absolutely obsessed with it. It goes back a long, long time. So it's no coincidence that they're blocking it off. It's no coincidence that they've blocked and locked off Chaco Canyon now. You can't visit any of the entry sites or any of those sacred sites right now in Chaco Canyon because there's military everywhere. They're blocking it off. So anyways, I'm going to get further and further into that. I have a study that Grandfather Martin gave me about that. I really encourage you to do your research and just investigate and explore a few of those things, because it's important that you do the work and not depend on other people to spoon feed you and confirm and come to your own conclusions. But also just to give you a little bit of background and context to what I'm relating to, because I'm not going to go through the full history of all of it. But in any case, I have this independent study that was provided to the Hopi that was done by an undercover CIA officer. And Martin gave it to me. And he told me to protect it and to save it people when it's the right time, to be careful with that information. So I will be sharing and divulging that soon. And I'll be doing that on here. It's meant to be shared. And there, let's just say, a lot of things that reveal what I'm speaking about with regards to Agartha, but also with extraterrestrial life and how the US government has been working with them and how they've been here for quite some time. We'll just put it that way and leave it at that. And conversations and interviews that have actually occurred. So yeah, that's it with that. And I will create an episode. I'm going to look into having people on like Stephen Greer, who I highly respect. I've been listening to him, paying attention to his work since the early 90s. He's an amazing person and scientist. And yeah, I really respect his work and his courage. and just different people in that field of work, if I can get them on to talk or just to do like online exchange. But if you haven't discovered their work already, get online and check it out. Yeah. So let me just check out the chat here. What do we got? Yes, Ogami999. Yeah, Chaco's been blocked off, I think, for like the last 5 years or something like that, just before COVID. Yeah, they blocked it. I don't know if things have changed. I'll be honest and say that I haven't been down there for a bit. But the last I heard, you can't just go into that area there, especially around like the spot that I'm talking about, which is, their point of entry, and also, the Anastase ruins and stuff like that. To my knowledge, it's closed. It's been blocked off by military. So, yeah. I will have an episode on that, and I'm going to start sharing a lot of the messages in that study that I was given, and reveal to you word for word that interview that has basically been protected for, I guess, the last 10 years that I've been waiting to share. So keep your ears on and spread the word. I'm not going to publish it in any written form, but I am going to share it here online. Good to see you too, brother. Blessings to you, man. So yeah, do your best to share. I'm going to have some really good topics, some good exchanges going on in here. It's it's my passion to share my vision for the future and building community, not necessarily a community as in a utopian reality of everybody living together in this kumbaya, Shangri-La type of environment. But we do have to work together. As we know, the time of the lone wolf is over. We can't do it ourselves. So yeah, let's work towards a more sustainable future, more accountability, more integrity, more self-reliance. That's really what it's all about. And a lot of the stuff that I'm going to share on here on these streams is going to be in discussion of that and just interacting with you. And like I say, if I can figure out a way not to get, I guess, deleted or have my show canceled through copyright infringements, then I'd like to incorporate and include music as part of my my shows, my streams. So challenges, setbacks, and growth. So yeah, if I don't want to be the only person talking here either at the same time. And I've certainly experienced a lot of challenges, setback, and growth over the last few years through this powerful time of transformation. And I've said before that we've come through the times of what they call the 9 hells, and the time of transformation after the end of the great cycle that was mapped out in the Mayan calendar. And so, it wasn't the ending or end of the world or anything like that. It was the end of an old cycle and the beginning of a great cycle, also mapping in and signaling the peak of a new solar maximus and a new time, a new age. And that includes a lot of change, a lot of growth, a lot of transformation, a lot of purification. So that's why we're living the life we're living. I would love to hear your thoughts, your experiences. I am, a very transparent person, and I'm happy to be open and honest about my experiences and different ways that I've, had my butt handed to me in different ways, and how I work through it, how I work through the challenges, and hopefully together by sharing and reflecting, we can help each other and inspire others. So that's the intention behind a lot of the interaction in the chat Blessings. Nice to see you, Agami. So, I'll be transparent here and say that, my path, my journey has not been easy in the sense that it's very difficult and challenging to have one foot in and one foot out of different worlds. I've been very, very committed. I've mentioned before that I've had dreams of this journey, not here on being like doing streaming and podcasting, but the path that I've been on essentially, and the mission, passion that I've had since before I was born. I have memories of being in council and speaking with whatever elders or spirit beings, guardians, and making an agreement, a contract, a promise, and a commitment to come here in this lifetime and do my best to serve and to help to create a good life for humanity. So, one thing that I know is I need to do this, and I feel like it's the only medium. And life continues to show me that and reflect that to me, and sometimes showing me that I'm not listening and that I need to trust. And like I said, and I'm sure you can pick up on a little bit of my nervousness, it's, streaming is very different because you can't go back and edit and craft it and, make it perfect and cut out all the glitches. And I'm not going to edit my live streams, by the way. They're going to be posted as is. So I'm going to follow the same sort of integrity as Rogan. And just keep my recordings as they are so that it is truly witnessed as a live stream. But in any case, it hasn't been easy because I've been tormented and pushed super hard through my own psyche and my heart, through spirit, to continue this work and self-judgment and really beating myself up about, not fulfilling my promise and contract. And feeling torn between finding a career and, playing the money game and being part of that, material wealth hamster wheel. And yes, I do obviously have to take care of my family, and I do take good care of my kids. But at the same time, it's a fine line, and we're all experiencing inflation and the insanity of what's going on in the economy right now. And on top of that, for example, if I want to travel freely and share this openly as much as I want to, it costs money to travel, and I got to pay bills while I'm gone. And it's atrociously expensive. And, I don't want to market myself at a lot of these like seminars and workshop circuits, these huge traveling circuits of speakers and lecturers and stuff like that. Where people are paying anywhere from like, $2,000 to $5,000 to attend. It's not accessible. It's not accessible for most people. It's an entitled experience, and that's not what the intention is here. This is to be accessible for everybody. But at the end of the day, my elders have reminded me, and I'll remind you, if this is part of your journey, that your car doesn't run on tobacco. And money is a tool. It's not evil. It's not bad. We need it. It's a valuable tool. We just have to respect it and use it with integrity and not allow it to control us. Yeah. So I'm doing this because I'm trusting, and because I feel I'm listening. I'm listening. And I feel like it's time. And not to put anybody down or talk negatively, but there's a lot of crap on YouTube that have thousands or millions of subscribers. So, let's get some like quality content on here and stuff that people can relate to and interact with and have fun with and learn and grow from, and use their time wisely and feel nourished. That's my intention anyways. So, yeah, we got someone here. Anyhow, I guess I'll leave it for now. If, one way you can be supportive until the channel gets bigger and better before I can sort of monetize it and get any donations or super chats or anything like that, is, welcome me into your community. I offer, sound healing journeys, which are very powerful through, digitally produced DNA activation sequences that include, anything from sacred chants, toning, crystal bowls, specific hertz frequencies that attune and align and awaken your dormant DNA and your chakras, your energy body, align your color spectrum, release trauma, bring a sense of happiness and balance and well-being. They're very, very profound. I call them astral dreams. They last about 2 hours. I've done them at festivals and I've done them for small groups in a workshop setting. I'm a DJ, as many of you know as well, focusing primarily on, deep chill out and techno, so dance floor and chill out. Yeah, and sharing these messages, I feel like this is the best way to do it, and I don't want to charge for it. It's not for profit. It's not the intention, but at the end of the day, we all have to feed ourselves. So at the very least, with my hope, a lot of people will benefit from hearing this, and it'll inspire them, and the channel will grow. And then eventually, when I can get some monetization and stuff like that, we'll see the gates of abundance flow. And in the meantime, I appreciate your time and your presence. Sending you much love and appreciation and gratitude for your presence. Please share this. Inspire other people to join in and check it out. We're going to open the floodgates here and bring in a lot of information that's not known and that's not being shared publicly. That's going to help people make a lot of sense of life and, global affairs, and offer a sense of direction and inspiration, offer hope. So thanks again. The live stream is called Break On Through, and I hope to see you again soon. Blessings.